And we're back. I feel like I put my hand in the ear. I'm not really sure why they did that, and we're back. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Dave. How's it
Morning.
going in New York?
All is well. Feeling great.
All
You're doing
right.
you're doing the vacay thing, aren't you?
Me, yeah. So we this is actually pretty cool. This is our 13th year, I think. I think we took a year or two off during COVID. We get a big house on the beach, Hilton Head Island. We get usually five families together. Now it's my wife's family, so like her brother, sister, their respective family. Our kids have been growing up with their cousins every year doing this. And we don't always get the same house, but every night one family does dinner. So like last night was our night, but it's just so much fun. The adults all go running in the morning, either together or individually. The kids are just playing like beach, then pool, then beach. We do a ton of fishing while we're here, just beach fishing. So it's just an awesome experience.
That's awesome, man. That's great.
Yeah.
Was this the trip last year that I said that we were offended that you didn't invite us?
It might have been. I sent the invitations. They were in the mail. I don't know what happened.
Love
All
it. All
right.
right.
So let me, since I missed last week or Thursday or whatever, um, I wanted to talk about this. I've been sharing a ton of stuff on LinkedIn. We could talk about a prompt that got a bunch of attention, and it was pretty cool. Like it was pretty dead on what ChatGPT, predicts about my future and likely could predict about yours. I shared a screenshot from a Larry Benz article, and it's really just focused on who is going to treat the rest of the patients. Like everybody wants to get more people coming to physical therapy. Where are the therapists going to magically come from to see these people? And then I was just sharing, Facebook is still like ramping up, accelerating to almost 2.5 million views on my business page since July 1st. So we can take it wherever you guys want.
I said we go. I'm interested in this prompt here.
Yeah. Are you close enough to read it? Because my eyes aren't that good.
Yeah. The prompt that you shared, you said you lost the original post, but someone shared the prompt for ChatGPT, and then you reshared it, which was based on everything you know about me and based on everything you know about human behavior and the users across ChatGPT. What would you say is the most likely outcome for the next 12 months of my life and career? We're going deep. Please use pattern recognition not just to leverage the patterns inside of me, but also the patterns within other people. Provide not just the outcome, but the odds and your rationale. So essentially, you're turning ChatGPT into a crystal ball. I'm not 100% sure, but is it able to do that? Is it able to access what other users are doing? I don't. How's that work?
I believe it can access just its own data set to know, like, understand human behavior, understand patterns, understand the likelihood. I mean, it's, again, I'm not an expert, but it's a large language model. It's predicting the next word. And I think with enough, which it has more than enough information, it can kind of get a sense. Now, part of the challenge for anybody watching, I've got the $20 a month account. My kids use it. My wife uses it. I'm like, guys, you're going to screw up my account. Like, just stop asking it these questions, because my account is like a prime to turn everything into an article, to turn everything into a business idea about physical therapy. But that being said, I don't know if you can access the article that I wrote with that post. It was pretty dead on. It's like, you're on the cusp of doing this and this digital product, and like, it understood without me telling it where I was going. You guys remember the articles that Google could predict a divorce? Google could tell you when like somebody was pregnant. Like Google knew all of this stuff before users knew it, because it understood your search patterns and what you were looking for. Dave, what do you think about something like this?
I was just chuckling because you're going to get mad at ChatGPT, or you're going to get mad at your family because ChatGPT is going to be reporting up to Sam Altman and the owners of OpenAI and saying this this user in Ohio
Yeah.
has significant prompt and search volume. It's very odd going from business to, I don't know, how to do like tricks with like a basketball or, you know, whatever. And any other normal or average thing that your wife might be prompting it. So, but no, I think it's a cool exercise. I want to hear more from you about it. Like, what other things that you're seeing that you're getting back in terms of the responses. But yeah, I think it's a cool tool to continue to explore and see what else it gives you.
Did you guys see the article headlines that have been coming out where I don't know who they were, but they studied like AI alone, doctors using AI to make a diagnosis, and doctors making a diagnosis alone. And the results were like, don't quote me on the numbers, but doctors alone were like 70% accurate. Doctors using AI were like 73% accurate. AI alone making the diagnosis like 98% accurate. And so I think if you combine a prompt like this with what we know that AI can do in regards to diagnosing and developing plans and all of this stuff, I don't see a world in which AI isn't better at just about everything related to medicine, physical therapy, any of that stuff. And that's why I think this like little prompt, the AI knows so much about us, and it picks up on things like, oh man, my shoulder's been bugging me. I couldn't do this. I couldn't do that. I don't know if you guys have done this, but any of the listeners, like pretend you're a patient. Tell ChatGPT that you are a physical therapist, but do it in a 20 questions kind of format, because you need the AI to be able to tease out the answers that it needs for the information that it needs. So you got to tell it to ask me 20 questions about this condition, and let's see if you can figure out the diagnosis. Let's play a game, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Remember, it's still a kid, basically. It hasn't grown and matured yet. So you need to coach it like a kid. But if you do that, the results and its ability are shocking. And I guarantee it can create a better treatment plan than the vast majority, me included, of therapists out there today.
The one quick question now, even though ChatGPT is young, like you said, it's still evolving. Your patients in Ohio, Tony, you have someone that had a total knee replacement. They have pain in the front of their knee, and you know, maybe you say, hey, it's no big deal, it's some patellofemoral pain or whatever. Maybe they have pain in the back of the knee, and then you say, hey, maybe it's some scar tissue, maybe it's a, you know, I don't know, an inflamed Baker cyst, whatever. Right now, I believe that your patients and clients and residents in your area of Ohio would still trust you more, you, Tony Maritato, you more, because you're there in the human form. They maybe saw your videos online. They have the rapport built with you, as opposed to if you set that individual in front of a computer in your clinic and they typed in their symptoms, and then ChatGPT says, yeah, it's definitely patellofemoral pain, or it's, I don't know, retinacular, you know, the retinaculum of the knee, or it's or it's a quad tendon versus patellar tendon, or it's a Baker cyst or whatever. Maybe that'll change, and I don't really think so, but I believe that many humans, most now, and I think most moving forward, will trust the human in-person doctor, whether they're using AI or not, compared to if they do, you know, they Google search on their own, they chat GPT on their own, they want to be well informed, and they come up with their own diagnosis or whatever the AI is giving them as a diagnosis, but they still will want to talk to some human healthcare provider. Any thoughts,
Yeah.
any feedback? I know I threw a lot at you guys.
No. Real quick, Jimmy, before you go. Yeah, we are the meat delivery system. Like we are the meat speaker that will talk for ChatGPT until we are eventually replaced. Look, we've got a kid with a painful ear right now. Where do you think we went first for the information? We went straight to ChatGPT, put in the symptoms, put in the stuff. We knew that we needed to get, you know, some drops. I mean, it's a persistent problem. I think there was probably a time in human history where flames, candles were more felt safer than electricity. but then when it changed universally, you know? And so I really think that's where we're going to be. Jimmy, I'm curious. I mean, you deal with stuff with your dad and other things. Like, where do you go for that kind of information? Do you ever put questions in? What are you doing?
Yeah, a little bit of everything, right? And it's going to be like, which one's your first, which one's the one in your holster that you're ready to pull out first? I think, Dave, you gave me an argument and then gave me the reason to disagree with it, which is we're going to go and we're going to listen to doctors, but we're going to Google it. People want the result that they want. If people disagree with whatever
but they're still going to the urgent care, and they're still going to the hospital, they're still going to the ENT office, and they're still going to come to the physical therapy office or home visits, whatever.
For what though? Like, that's the question. But we can show a statistic now, and this will lead into our next conversation of how many of them are just Googling something, not agreeing with it, or not seeing us as a resource. What I mean is, we ask for advice, and if we don't like it, we look for a second opinion. If we loved the first advice, we go with it. I think this is going to be a filter, just like Google is. I think the stats will show that, like, a clinician using a tool versus not using a tool. I'm sure there was a guy who had a really good ear who used to press it against the chest before the stethoscope. When the stethoscope came out, and he was saying, well, I don't think you should use that. I'm really good. I've been doing this for thousands of hours. I think it's going to be yes and.
To Dave's point, though, which again, it's I don't care what I think. It's what do I actually do? So we go to ChatGPT. We start looking up. Okay, yeah, it's all the normal stuff. What did we do? We didn't go to telehealth. Like, why didn't I go to a telehealth doc right now this morning? My wife got on the phone. She called the local urgent care. She set up a 6 p.m. appointment. We're going to go to the urgent care to get the prescription referral for the drops, the antibiotic drops. Like, why did we do that? We understand that there is telehealth available, and I could probably get a telehealth doc easier than I could do the urgent care. But we're still in that pattern of, I guess I need to go see a doctor. I need somebody to look in his ear, even though we're at the beach. Water's like, we're in the water all day long. I guarantee it's just swimmer's ear or whatever. I think it's interesting.
I believe that behavior that you just outlined, Tony, will continue for the next 10, if not 20 years. I don't think anything is going to be majorly disrupted. I think the way that you guys handle that, your family, especially if the kids are younger, but you have, teenagers, you could have done telehealth. You could have had, I don't know, you could have had some, depending on if your area has it, like we have it here, like PAs and nurses that do home visits, also that do medical home visits. So that example of you just skip telehealth, you did the office visit, and you're going to go in person, I don't see that changing dramatically, regardless of how sophisticated and advanced this AI gets.
And to your point, I asked in my knee replacement group, I'm like, how many of you guys, almost 20,000 members in this group, how many of you guys have asked ChatGPT for advice or information about your knee replacement recovery? Guess on a percentage basis, zero.
There you go. I was going to say 5%, but yeah, zero.
I'm shocked. I can't even believe it. But yeah, none of them said, yes, we consulted with ChatGPT, even though we're doing physical therapy. None of them did anything. I'm blown away. I'm proven completely wrong in this moment in time.
Yeah,
and I think because that's the example. Like, in the next 10, 20 years, even if it's 70% of your Facebook group, if it's 50,000 members by then, 100,000 members, and 70% of the members say, yes, I typed in something to ChatGPT, and I'm using ChatGPT, and I'm talking to it about my symptoms, whatever, they're still going to go to the in-person provider for those aches, pains, orthopedic issues. But Jimmy, what does Dan got?
Dan was asking about AI in terms of landing page. So the chat bots were all the rage, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, right? That was more of a decision tree. What brings you in? It could do simple yes, no, and then route them. This has to be being done already, right? I don't know if I've tripped across it, but this feels like a layup. It feels like this must have been started 6 months ago, right?
Yeah, I get people reaching out to me that want to show me products that would do something like this. I think the concern with this, at least I know my concern, is still a liability concern. Um, I mean, if you open it up to ChatGPT, it says basically, has anyone incorporated ChatGPT onto their landing page to help convert on those patients that may or may not need to schedule an evaluation? I think it's doable. I know there are services doing it. I just don't know that I want that service available on my website. Dave, you use a answering service. They don't give advice. They don't do anything, but it's kind of the same thing, in the sense that somebody calls, the answering service picks up, they make the connection, get the information, right?
Yeah, I mean, Rob Vining, our buddy, had done something like this with PT Live
PT
years
Live.
ago,
Yeah.
6, 7, 8, whatever years ago. Regardless of whether it was PT Live or I think Wix has like a chatbot thing, and there's so many different platforms that have a chatbot. One thing is that it actually can lower and decrease the loading speed of your website and all your pages, the actual chatbot. So that's one big reason I think they haven't been fully adopted. Then, like you said, the liability and a lot of the ones that I see now are like you type in something and it's got like pre-canned responses. So it's kind of like a decision tree, or it's just going to give you like one sentence of, whatever. And then it's like, was this helpful or not? And so I don't see that tool evolving either. I mean, yeah, you could plug ChatGPT on your website and try to have it answer questions, but then it's like, I mean, that same person could just go off your website, go into ChatGPT, and ask the same types of questions, unless they're asking, "Does your practice do this?" And that's why they would be on your website asking about it. But I agree with Tony. I don't see huge value in it. Like that's why you need to be creative with your words and your copywriting on your website to convey why you're different, to convey your brand promise, and what are your differentiators and your testimonials and your success stories and your reviews and all that. I just don't think, even now in 2025, I just don't think a chatbot is really going to move the needle for a practice.
Well, I see the value in it. I love the idea. I'm just concerned about the liability of it. Like that's where I would have my hesitation. But if I can't see a world again that we live in 3 years from now that we used to, okay, so going back 20 years, we had a young girl. She was a massage therapist, exercise tech. We had trained her on all the questions to ask and how to, interview the new caller calling in. And she would collect all the information, put it into our documentation system, save the therapist a ton of time. She was the human version of this 20 years ago. It's definitely something that needs to happen. We're just not necessarily in a position that we would take on the risk of doing it, but I definitely see huge value in it. And this goes to maybe the second topic for today. How do we leverage technology, humans, other, opportunities to allow the profession to see more of the people who need our services? Larry Benz shared a post on LinkedIn. This is a screenshot from his article, but this has been a topic I've been talking about lately a lot more. So it says, with only 10 to 12% of patients with aches, pains, sprains, and strains. I think those 4 words are kind of interesting. Accessing
Why?
physical therapy care. I mean, do you really need to see a physical therapist for aches, pains, sprains, and strains? Like that, this is not something that needs the level of a DPT. This is something that absolutely should be taken care of by a lower level provider. I think we want those people. Like I'm sure Dave loves seeing, an athlete who has a Achilles tendinopathy or something like that. Like it's fun to treat those people. But I'm like, we're using a bazooka for something that could deal with a pea shooter. I think we're overshooting. And bottom line is we don't have enough providers. Even if we did, magically we get another 40,000 licensed clinicians in the profession. We can't afford to treat those people. Like I can't do, UHC $50 a day reimbursement, filling my clinic with
So you
that.
gotta opt out of in network insurance, baby. Charge out of pocket like me.
So,
Come on,
but okay,
come
that's
on now.
fine. If you do, point being is still nobody is around to see those people in the model we have. Like, let's build a model that can handle the capacity. I'm a big advocate of saying, look, if an insurance wants to pay a day rate, not a per CPT code rate, then don't give them 4 CPT codes. Like, give them the one CPT code, 10 minutes of direct care, and then, let them do their program on their own. Jimmy, what are you thinking?
I don't know. I'm trying to wrap my head around all of this in terms of like uh, it's not that I'm speechless. It's just this feels like every conversation. I was just at the APTA Future of Rehab Therapy Summit, and I feel like we keep advancing what we're able to do, and we're dragged down by how we're able to do it, which unfortunately, but is money. So we keep raising the ceiling, but we're not raising the floor. So we got a really, really tall house.
Meaning what? Payment reimbursement? Is that what you're talking
Yeah.
about? Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree forever. It's one of those things where I always say like the house I'm staying in. This is an amazing house. It's on the beach. It's huge. There's 5 full families staying in this house, and you wouldn't even know, like, because we all have our individual spaces and bathrooms and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, this is amazing, but this is not $125,000 house, right? So we talk about a housing shortage. We're building $10 million houses. There's a disconnect there. Who's building the $120,000 house? In physical therapy, if we're going to treat aches and pains and sprains and strains, that's not a DPT. Like, so who is?
I disagree with that. I disagree with that. I don't
Okay,
know
so
why,
tell
but
me more.
like, okay. You've done an amazing job with video, Tony. Probably, I would say one of the best in the country, maybe the best globally, with putting out what you do from your clinic onto social media, onto TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I think you do long form mostly on LinkedIn to get in front of therapists. The more people, the more practice like that, and I'm trying to do it. You've seen me. I'm working on it, putting out videos, content, all that. This will help more people find you and I, and like, oh, you know what? Maybe I'll just come for 1 or 2 visits. We don't necessarily need to do a full, let's do a full plan of care. Let's get you booked out for 10, 12, 15, 20 visits, whatever. I think moving forward, there's more exposure for what we do online. And I think we are primed to help people with aches, pains, and strains. Like, who else? Otherwise, they're going to pop Advil, ibuprofen. They're going to get, some of the, Bengay and some of the smelly joint rubs, and maybe a hot pack if the hot pack at home, and the plug in the hot pad if that doesn't work. Then they absolutely should come to or go to someone that they either get a word of mouth referral from. They check out their Google reviews. They look at our website, my website, your website. They look at our social media. They look at your social media. They're like, oh my God, this guy's obviously legit. And I believe, like, who else is better to help a 20-year-old with an ankle sprain? And yeah, an ankle sprain is not going to be 15, 20 visits. Maybe it's 1 or 2. Maybe it's a little manual therapy, and then teaching them, hopping drills and or progression, this, and this over the coming days or weeks or whatever. Some of those people mainly want one physical therapy visit. That's fine. Maybe you upsell them, you cross sell them remote programming, and you use True Coach or some other website to lay out an exercise program to go from ankle sprain back to basketball practice, or ankle sprain back to full on athletic competition where you're cutting and pivoting and jumping and landing and all of that. And so I don't like as I'm talking, I'm selling myself even more on my point. Aches, pains, and strains. You sleep wrong on the couch, you wake up, you got a crick in your neck, a crook in your neck, whatever the saying. I got stiff neck to one side. I mean, yeah, you can go to a chiropractor. Yeah, you can go to a massage therapist. Who else is better than us to help with this? They don't need a full plan of care. I don't understand why, like, you're saying it's a lower level person. But anyway, that's how I feel about it.
I'd be curious to know from Jimmy if they talked about any of this, or like primary care, physical therapists moving into primary care. You're right. I agree. Like 1, 2 visits, bring them peace of mind, like do an evaluation, clear them, tell them what to do, or that they're going to be fine. It's going to get better on its own.
And many, unless they're an athlete, many Americans will not do what they need to do. Then the ankle issue gets worse or whatever, or becomes something else. And then they have to come back. Now they have to come back for 10 or 12 or whatever visits because they need the accountability. That's a lot of people. Unless you're an active individual who's already motivated to move and stay consistent with a movement routine or an exercise routine or walking or whatever the routine is. So many people, most need accountability. Who is best for that? Also physical therapists.
I disagree. I think there are way better people to deliver the accountability, to motivate, to encourage, to make it enjoyable. And the only thing that I would say, I agree
But
with
these health coaches on Instagram, who?
Yeah, basically. I mean, anybody with a decent personality that you like spending an hour with, like that's the person who should be delivering the follow-up. The only thing I'm saying is every visit that gets moved over to an acre of pain is a visit that's not available for somebody who had a stroke, for somebody who had a brain injury, for somebody who, had a more significant situation going on. And I really think like we're at the point where we are kind of forced to ration care. We don't have enough providers to deliver it. So I hate to see great therapists, they are great therapists, using the few visits they have available for something that doesn't necessarily need them, when there are people out there that really honestly do need the skills of a therapist. They have the medical complexity, they have the history, they're unstable. Like those are the individuals that we should be prioritizing in our world, your world, my world. I just think we kind of do all the fun stuff. We do the low hanging fruit. We do the easy things that probably don't really need the skills of a therapist.
All right, really quick on the side of the acquisitions, partnerships that I've done and looking to do, and looking at, I obviously won't mention any names, but looking at financials and looking at their medical records. Tony, in the Northeast, and we've looked at some practices kind of all over East Coast. What we've looked at in a anecdotal, dozens, dozens and dozens of practice, not hundreds, but dozens of different companies and different practices. The schedules are not full.
That's shocking. It really is. It's just
So
surprising.
okay, so either they don't have the true demand wherever they are in the New York City area, the New York area, Jersey, PA, East Coast, Florida that we've looked at. Either they don't have the true demand, or one thing I'm coaching my therapist Porus today on a Zoom call at 2 p.m. that I'm going to record and put on the Dave Kittle show and have it recorded for him to review it, which is presenting the plan of care, getting buy-in, connecting the dots. Every evaluation, every follow-up visit, my therapists need to be teaching, coaching, reminding the patient and the client, hey, we're doing this, because they don't care about a shoulder mobilization. They don't care about TheraBands. They don't care about scar mobilizations, whatever. They don't care necessarily about what we do, but it's reminding them, hey, we're doing this thing because I'm getting you back to the thing you care about, whatever the goal is, to join the Maritado family on this vacation, to go on a cruise, to go to Europe, to walk on the beach, to lift up your grandchild, whatever the things that you want to do, Mr. and Mrs. Patient, those things that you really care about. We're doing this thing today on this visit to work. This is a couple stepping stones to get back to this thing, or to get out of bed with no pain, or to whatever, to sit on the toilet with no pain, or to do get back to pickleball, whatever it is. That's also something that I believe, especially with the practices that we've looked at, where the capacity and the schedules are not full always, they're not typically full. That's a huge component that I know it's a little bit more on the clinical side of things, a little bit more on the physical therapy side of things. But that goes back to training and coaching and mentorship. And I don't think a lot of the leadership of therapy practices in private practice have done a good job at that. You get away with it in the hospital jobs. They don't care if you're, if I'm seeing 7 visits per plan of care, but Jimmy is seeing, 14 visits per plan of care, and he's seeing, 2x the amount of follow visits than I am, and I'm a leaky bucket because I'm not getting my patients and clients to re-up and continue to come back, because I'm not reminding them why this is important, why I'm doing these little things, but it really tying it back and connecting the dots to what they care about. That's also a huge issue that Larry Benz, I don't think, talks about, and a lot of people don't really talk about across the country. Huge, gigantic issue.
I want to hear in a minute from Jimmy about like themes, trends, what was going on in DC. But Dave, let me just ask you a clarifying question. These practices that you were looking at, were they 100% insurance based? Were they hybrid? Were they cash based? What are you looking at?
Some 100% in network, some like that out of network or self pay, and some completely cash. Like some are completely self pay. So we've looked at everything.
Okay. I mean,
Now,
yeah.
that I will say, the ones that are self-pay or cash pay, a lot of them, these are hidden gems. I would love to partner with them, and maybe we might. And those are oftentimes more dialed in. But it's like the in-network practices we talk about, how you've talked about so many times, Tony, of like the care is basically discounted because of the insurance contracts, and it's a lower cost, so it's a like easier access and lower barrier to entry for a patient to start therapy. But then they have the highest turnover in terms of like the therapists or the patients that have the shortest amount of visits per plan of care. And that what is it? What's the APT? I mean the WebPT study that came out where, what is it, like 80 to 90% of people drop off after the first 3 to 10 visits across the country, whatever the stat was, something like that. So the in-network practice have a bigger challenge with that. Either that goes back to either training, the service that they're providing is not valuable. I don't know. They're not doing joke books like at Tony's clinic. I don't know what.
All right, Jimmy, what was the common underlying thread or theme going on in DC?
Yeah, the first day was sort of an overview. It was taking a look at, I feel like the people in the room, and this is not a knock on it, this is probably a need to go deeper, maybe do it bigger, but I feel like the people in the room probably knew a lot of the topics, and the presentations were pretty big overviews of the things. Like they were talking about AI. They were telling about AI and not necessarily showing it, so that you'd have 3 experts on AI, and we really were touching the surface. I was expecting something when you tag the word future onto it, you're going to show what something is going to be able to do 3, 5, 7 years from now, and where you should be. Where I felt like it was like almost like a 101 course. So, my reaction was, this might have worked 10 years ago, but people are a lot savvier now because of things like LinkedIn. Like you're being hit with this information every single day, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. I come in person because I want to tactically be able to use this stuff and see how I want to be blown away. I want to see what you haven't shown on LinkedIn, what isn't being shown in your YouTube video or discussed in your podcast, where I saw a lot of that overview. So this was good for people who maybe were in the middle of the bell curve or maybe a little bit on the slower side. But the people on stage were the experts. I feel like they weren't running. I was waiting for them to gallop a little more. The second day was a little bit more tactical, and it was exactly like examples like show how to deliver a successful innovation pitch by someone who's done it, a physical therapist who was on Shark Tank, how to file a patent. And I was like, we're going so the first day felt really wide and broad and like sort of superficial. And the second day was like super, super, super narrow and super deep. So I don't know. I'm not really sure what people were expecting. I mean, I talked to a few people and said, was this what you expected? And a couple of them had said no. But I was looking at a cross section. I would say most of the people there used to be clinicians are now in some sort of leadership role, right? Because they're the more of a business person going to be able to take this information and figure out what they need to buy, integrate, or create next. And I don't know if they saw that. And then the few clinicians that I saw there were walking away going, I didn't really get anything to use in clinic tomorrow. So I think the APTA doing this is a huge nod. I think now they'll take feedback and dial it in. But for me, I thought it was okay. I'd give it a B-.
Was this new? Is this something that they haven't done before?
Correct. They did something similar a few years ago during the centennial celebration. Similar. That was very, very, very high level. They had like Jill Biden showed up and we were talking like pie in the sky. This came down to earth a little bit in a good way. I think they still have a ways to go. I would like to see more interactivity. What can't I do? Like if they had live streamed this, you have to ask yourself, did I want to be in the room? They didn't live stream it, which again, I still don't understand in 2025. Like live stream half of it, right? If you want to create FOMO, create FOMO. It was on purpose. You can only put so many people in the room, like the cost value perspective, right? But like start asking yourself, if I could have live streamed it and it would have been better, what could I have done if I were there? I don't know the answer. I would have said put a few academics in there and say, how do you create a course? What is the thing? And the first question they're going to say is, what's the outcome? Well, I want to be able to use the information that the instructors have tactically. Great, work backwards. This was a bunch of presentations on buzzword topics. Great. But now what? Like, what am I supposed to do? I felt great, but what am I supposed to do with it? Because if you're a business owner or a manager and you just spent 3 days of your life flying there and back and spending money to do it, you're walking away going, what am I using on Monday? What's the Monday morning applicable? I don't know the answer because you probably knew a lot of this.
What kind of turnout was there? Any idea on what total attendance was?
Yeah, it was full. I mean, they capped it. They wanted it to be a smaller event. So I'm going to say there was 200 people in the room.
Okay.
And the title of the event was The Future of Rehab or Future.
Now, the reason they called it that was they brought in OT, the president of ASHA, the speech language pathologists, and AOTA. I think that's a great move. I think that's one thing the APTA has been doing. We're the larger of the three associations. I think there's a pretty big opportunity if we band together. We're not really competing, but we're also, I mean, a lot of times in hospital systems, we're lumped together. PTOT speech. How do you take advantage of that, right? Why aren't we using resources and sharing things instead of fighting everything on our own? I think that's a brilliant strategic political move on behalf of APTA.
Yeah.
What would you just looking at the title, Future of Rehab Therapy Summit? What would you have wanted to be there?
I want to hear this from Tony as well. Great
Like
question.
what would you have wanted to see? What would you have expected?
I would have assumed we would have been talking about value-based care. I would assume we've been talking about like therapists moving into primary care providers for musculoskeletal issues, that kind of stuff. If it was going to be more technology-based, then I would have figured everything would have been AI, like AI scribes, AI documentation, AI plans of care, integrating AI, into just every aspect of business. So I get companies reaching out to me that want to show me how they're using AI to verify insurance coverage. Companies showing me how they're using AI to, handle calls and AI for, we see it. I shared it with you guys. There are marketing companies using AI in the physical therapy space, trying to attract physical therapists to use their marketing services. So like, if it was going to be more of a tech specific, that's what I would have expected. If it was going to be more the profession in general, it would have been, okay, where are the DPTs going and what are they going to do 5 years from now?
Yeah, I thought it was a mashup of that. Like what the first thing you described felt like there's an event that happens every year at CSM called Technopalooza. And that is the easiest way. They've been doing it for 13 years before I ever went. It's Antique Roadshow, but with physical therapy technology, which is awesome, which is like, come, someone's going to be like, here's my thing. And then if I'll be over here, come play around with it, touch it, ask me one-on-one questions. Like, to me, that would have been a better use of it, which is like, come and bang on this thing. Take a look at our scribe. See how this does those things. They had industry presentations throughout the event, like 10 minutes in between presentations, and they were mediocre. Like, these were like awkward product placement presentations, sort of like needed to have that thing. And like, remember in the magazines and the newspaper when it looked like an editorial, but it was an ad, and they had finally the FTA or the FCC said you had to actually put put the disclaimer on. It felt a little awkward. Like, people want to be wowed. They want to be motivated, entertained, educated. And I feel like I don't know what they got out of this, but I lost.
Sounds like a miss. Sounds like a miss.
But the fact that they're doing it, and I know a few of the people who are responsible, like, again, someone was like, well, what would you have done? I'm like, I don't know. I guess I was walking into a movie expecting like Jurassic Park for the first time, and I got like the zoo. I was like, all right. But the fact that they threw the zoo is telling me like, all right, maybe they'll ask everybody and hopefully get some honest feedback, right? And then be able to adapt and change that thing.
We should do an antique roadshow where like practice owners like me, like our business is 25 years old. I want to go to Dave and like show Dave my business, put it on a pedestal, thinking the business is worth like $20. And then Dave is going to be like, wow, this is amazing. No, it's actually worth $150,000. And then people go crazy for it. But our businesses could be the antiques that could be worth pennies or worth millions. That's what I want to do.
Yep.
All right. I don't understand why this future rehab for physical therapists didn't cover Jimmy. I don't know. Diagnostic ultrasound, shockwave, laser, stim pod. Which of those have CPT codes for billing? How much do they actually reimburse? And then also other therapists and practice owners that offer like a menu of these items and self-pay rates in different states and different owners that charge different dollar amounts for those services, packages, all that. None of that was there.
Not that I saw in my best
estimation.
estimation.
I mean, and I do agree with Tony, like AI scribes and AI documentation and AI for practice management. If you're a practice owner, like absolutely, that should be totally included for sure. But then the other things like services and, self-pay options. I mean, the fact that like any of these events occur and we're not talking about in-network payment reimbursement being the same or less is just absolutely insane and disingenuous.
Yeah, from what I saw, it was really like, I guess, a good start, like high level on a lot of these things. But again, with platforms like LinkedIn and YouTube and ChatGPT, I feel like people are past that. It's not so much the parts. Like, people want to understand like who's doing it, who's actually putting the parts together in a really great way. How's this working?
Yeah, but I think, speaking for all of us, I think regardless, first time, right? It's going to get better from here. Glad they're doing it. Glad they're moving in that direction. I have a question for Jimmy, and you might not be too familiar with the Athelis AI Scribe, but have you guys, and I'm putting this out to the listeners as much as to you two, I still don't think there is an AI scribe or AI functionality within EMR that goes back and forth, that is conversational. So when I use ambient listening and it generates the treatment note or generates the evaluation, I needed to ask me questions. And I think there's a huge gap in that where, like, if I was going to do documentation as a human, and Dave is the therapist, because we used to do this. Dave would be out there, he'd be treating the patient. I'm like, Dave, all right, so tell me about today's visit and what'd you guys do and how did you progress this and what was that? And like, we would have a conversation. There would be a back and forth because Dave would have stuff in his head that he might not verbalize, that it would be my responsibility to extract that information from Dave. The AI can absolutely do that with proper prompting back and forth, but I don't think there are any scribes out there or any technology. I don't even think like Prediction Health or any of them do it, where it literally records the conversation, generates the basic framework, then prompts the therapist, even if maybe the information is there. Hey, Dave, ask about this. And then Dave would be like, oh, yeah, I forgot. So, John, what are you doing about these things? Gets the information. Have you guys seen or heard any two-way systems like that right now?
No.
I don't think so. I have heard one, and I don't know the name of it, but if someone does, please drop it. Someone was saying there was an AI sort of overlay, like an app that was sort of a plugin that plugged into your EMR, saw that you were working on a knee evaluation, would then generate 3 to 5 questions based on current practice, have you answer them after the encounter, and then it would credit you CEUs. So essentially it'd be like, you were just working on a knee. And like, here's a little blurb about knees. Now answer these 3 to 5 questions. And essentially you're banking CEUs. You know, it's 0.01 CEU every time you answer a question. But if you're just answering, essentially it's like trivia afterwards. But your score is going towards your CEU count.
Yeah, that's cool. But anyway, so whoever's out there working on it, let's get a little bit of back and forth. If we're ready to pivot, Dave, I know you're working more on organic content, organic reach. Jimmy, can you pull up the Facebook numbers? So you guys, I've said it, I'll share it again. This is my Facebook business page. Either Instagram or Facebook. I don't know who prompted me. One of those platforms said, hey, it's a great idea to share your 100 best Instagram posts onto Facebook. Now, I already share all of my Facebook or my Instagram onto Facebook anyway, but I was like, oh, I'm going to try it and see what happens. I hit one button. It auto scheduled 4 posts a day. You guys can see up on the screen. I'm at like 2.3 million or something, starting basically beginning of July. The revenue, the money I'm making from just Facebook monetization, it's like $300 something so far. I'm blown away. I can't believe that I can repost the same videos because these have already been shared and I'm not getting penalized. So this is all organic. This is just those little video clips that you guys know I do. Dave, what are your thoughts on this? Now, I will say, you know, I'm not running ads also. I should run ads behind this bump in reach. What would you do, Dave, if you were getting this kind of reach?
Well, just to clarify, so you are posting a video that you posted 6 months ago, a year ago, and then you're taking that exact same video file and you're posting it again on your same Facebook business page. Is that correct?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. So the fact that you're not getting dinged from Facebook is great because you know that they always want, new, unique organic content, and you're reposting it again. So it's almost like Facebook is telling you right now, hey, Tony, your video content is, at least right now, is evergreen, meaning you can reuse it or, recycle it. And you don't have to change, you don't have to edit the beginning. You don't have to change, I don't know, like a filter or put, I don't know, different graphics on it or whatever, insert, any type of other clips into that video. So that makes it easier for you, I'm assuming, as a business owner. So pretty cool. It's awesome stuff. I love it.
Yeah, and the fact that I didn't even have to do anything. Like I literally pushed the button and either Instagram or Facebook, whichever, auto-generated, auto-scheduled, did everything automatically, averaging about 4 posts a day. Now, I still supplement or support that with new original content. Even while I'm on vacation, we were sitting at the beach yesterday, I can put up a couple short videos. But I'm just shocked that they would encourage duplicate content. I mean, this is straight up duplicate content to be reshared, reposted without hurting my reach.
And so Facebook is giving you that like notification of like, hey, you posted this video a year ago or however long ago, and then you're just tapping a button to post it again. Is that kind of what you're seeing on like the admin side of the Facebook page?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, it's awesome.
Real quick, couple other things that I'm doing with that now is, as I realize like there are products in the videos, I go out to my Amazon, I grab the affiliate link, I go back to either the comments or the original, edit the original post, and I drop my affiliate links in there. So the QB, the massage guns, like all of that kind of stuff. Just because these posts, like, if you go into the business page, I mean, some of them are hitting 50,000 views, 40,000 views in like 24 hours. So they're getting great reach. Now, I haven't seen a huge jump in my Amazon affiliate income, but I think Prime screwed me. Like every time Amazon Prime comes up, my affiliate income drops. I think as people already know what they're going to buy, they're just waiting to buy it. And so the cookie is only 24 hours. And but I'm hoping to see that affiliate income start to climb again now that I think Prime is over, Prime week.
Yep.
All right. Are we good? We're going to wrap it, or any other topics?
That's all I got.
All right.
That's it.
Parting shots. So don't pay attention to what we say, pay attention to what we do. As much as I tell you guys that, you know, telehealth and AI and everything is the future, I'm still sitting here, and tonight at 6 o'clock, we're going to take my kid to a human in the urgent care to get the prescription for the antibiotics. Dave?
6 p.m. is as soon as you can get them in?
Yeah.
Wow. That's impressive. Yeah, I love it. I mean, I want to just highlight again, focusing on the thing I'm going to be re-coaching, reteaching, training, mentoring my physical therapist on presenting the plan of care, getting buy-in from the new patients and clients, connecting the dots from what they care about, and integrating that into your treatment. They don't care. No patients out there care about your treatment. They want to feel better. They want to get back to the things they want to get back to: pickleball, golf, playing with their children, taking their kids to urgent care, whatever it is, taking them to soccer, taking them to the Maritado Beach House where all the Maritados run 6-minute miles, whatever it is, whatever people want to get back to, that's what we need to focus on. If we can do that as a profession across the country, then we will get more of those patients that you're talking about. And then we will have a shortage of physical therapists like Tony was talking about. But until then, until we focus everything around the patient or client, regardless of the payer model, regardless of the insurance, there might be a leaky bucket out there.
I would say, I'd reiterate, don't pay attention to what someone says, watch what they do. I think the APTA Future of Rehab Therapy Summit is a really good start. I think it's shining a light on the different directions, but now see what actually organizations that are similar to you, bigger than you, smaller than you, different than you, what they're actually doing. Gentlemen, we'll see you guys on Thursday. Have a good hot week. Enjoy the beach.